Okay, so in this second algebra video, we're going to be looking at some of these shorter questions, okay, away from the wordy ones. These are worth 2 marks or 1 mark each. Very short command words. We've just got factorise fully. Both words are important. The word factorise means your answer is going to end up with some brackets in it. Okay, taking something out, taking out factors and ending up with brackets. Fully is a bit of a clue to tell us there's going to be more than one thing, more than one part to the factor. Okay, now that sounds a bit confusing, or might be a bit confusing to you at the minute, but hopefully it'll become clear during this video. With the fully part question, and be one thing to take. Let's take a look at the number 10x squared plus 6x. The number specific 10, 6. Looking for a factor 6. There are only 2. One into both of them. So we'll take the factor we can. So the highest number that goes into 10 and 6 is 2. But again, that fully part tells us there's more than one part to the factor. So 2's not enough. If I just took a 2 out, I'd have 1 mark instead of both. So then we look at the letters. We've got x squared and x. Remembering that x squared is x times x, and on the 6 I've just got an x. So because we're answering x here, an x here, take x out as part of the factor. Well, our first word we saw was factorise, so that tells me there's brackets, so I can now open a bracket and see what's left. So 10 divided by 2, or the factor pair, 2 5s make 10, so we get a 5 inside the bracket. We did have x squared on this term, but we've taken one of the x's away. That one's gone, leaving me with just x. You can always double check as you're going through. 2x times 5x makes 10x squared. As we look at the next part, we've got 6x, and again the factor pair, 2 times 3 makes 6, so it's going to be a 3. We had an x, but we've taken that x off. It's come out as part of the factor, so that's now gone. We can close the bracket. At the minute I don't have the marks, don't forget, it was plus 6x, so it's now plus 3. If that was a negative there, that would drop down into the bracket. But as it's a positive, it's plus 3. Once again, you can always expand that bracket, an easier skill to check that your factorising is correct. 2x times 5x is 10x squared, and 2x times 3 is 6x. So drop that into our answer line, and we pick up 2 more marks. Sticking with the factorising, it doesn't say factorise fully, but it is a more complex factorisation. We do have an x squared, we've got a 2x, and we've got a number. So on first sight, if we try and do the same thing we did above, there isn't anything that goes into all 3 terms. There's no number that goes into them all, and they don't all have x's on. Well, in this case, with a squared, it's called quadratic factorisation, and it tells us we're going to have a double bracket. Now, if you've done quadratic expansion, you'll know that often you see x and x at the front of both brackets. We know that's going to be the case here because it's x squared. And either the first eyebrow or the first box in your grid will be x times x if you're expanding to give us x squared. It works. Actually, minus 2x for now and go straight to the minus 15 on the end. It's factor. I still think of factor pairs. I'm going to think of the factor pairs. I mean, look, only 2 options, 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. Now we need to choose which one it is. Now those of you that have done this before might say, well, we need to see which ones add up to make 2, but neither of these add up to make 2 because we've missed a very important point. This is minus 15. So to get a times, 1 times 15 or 3 times 5 to give me minus 15, one of those has to be negative. And because we've got a negative here, that leads us to the clue that it's going to be the larger number that's negative, either negative 15 or negative 5. Some of you may have spotted it already. 1 take away 15 would give me minus 14. That's no good. 3 take away 5 gives us minus 2. That's the one we're after. So these are the factor pair that I'm after. These are the numbers I'm after. Drop them down into the brackets. X plus 3 because it was the positive on the 3, and minus 5 in the second bracket, And once again, a quick expansion. If you're not sure whether you use the grid or the smiley face method, it doesn't matter. We've got x plus 3, x minus 5. As I said before, x times x is x squared, plus 3x from 3 times x, minus 5x minus 5 times x, and minus 15. And all you need to check is that peanut there, or those two middle terms, minus 5x plus 3x, or the other way around, gives me the minus 2x that we were after. Now we're sure that it does, I can drop my answer onto the answer line and pick up another 2 marks. Now the next question, part 2, is only worth 1 mark, and that seems a little harsh, apart from the fact that if we look closely, we've got x squared minus 2x minus 15, and x squared minus 2x minus 15, but now equal to 0. It means that the work we've done here is going to be important here. So in fact, I can actually just drop my previous answer, x plus 3, x minus 5, underneath what we had already, and tag the equal to 0 on the end. Now if you've done this before, you'll realise that it's because one of these brackets has to be 0, because when I times two things together to get 0, one of them has to be 0. So we end up with either x plus 3 being equal to 0, or x minus 5 being equal to 0. One of the brackets has to be 0. Now they look a bit weird because they're equal to 0, but these are actually now very basic equations to solve. A plus 3 goes over to be a minus 3, and 0 minus 3 is just minus 3. So x equals minus 3 is one of my answers. When we solve, remember, it means find the number that goes where the letter is. I can have this as an answer. Minus 5 goes over to be plus 5. And 0 plus 5 is just 5. We have a second answer. The answer is x minus 3 or x equals 5. Once again, as in with lots and lots of algebra questions, there is a way to check our answers. I'll start with the positive one to make life a bit easier. Put the x equals 5 into the equation. So we've got 5 squared minus 2 times 5 minus 15. You could either type that into your calculator or work it out. 25 minus 10 minus 15 equals 0, which is what we wanted. So that one works. And minus 3 squared, remember on your calculators you must put brackets around that minus number, otherwise the calculator will give you the wrong answer. Minus 2 times minus 3, again brackets around that negative number. Minus 15, which is 9, positive 9, a minus number squared is a positive number, and a minus times a minus is a positive number, so 9 plus 6 is 15, take away 15 equals 0. That one works. So my answer, x equals minus 3 or x equals 5. An extra mark. Thank you.